It was a natural disaster that led to one of the worst nuclear accidents in history. Nearly 16,000 people lost their lives and more than 2,000 remain missing from a historic earthquake and tsunami that triggered a meltdown at Japan's Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant in 2011. We had a couple of viewers contact us about that disaster. Laura Newingham on Facebook asked, what happened to the nuclear plant in Japan that was leaking into the ocean? While Richard Surface from Virginia Beach emailed us over a report that the Fukushima plant is releasing 770,000 tons of radioactive water into the Pacific Ocean. Well, just today, a plant operator said contaminated water may have leaked from the damaged reactors after it was discovered water gauges showed erroneous settings. Tokyo Electric Power Company says groundwater samples show no increase in radioactivity, but it is investigating. That's today. As for what else is happening at Fukushima, some answers in tonight's edition of our series, Whatever Happened to 3/11/11, a quiet March afternoon disrupted by the largest earthquake to ever hit Japan. The sheer terror for the Japanese only intensified as the 9-point magnitude quake sparked a massive tsunami, cutting power to the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, leading to the world's worst nuclear disaster since Chernobyl. Japan says radiation inside one of its nuclear plants is 1,000 times its normal level. The plant has reportedly lost control. We followed the developments day after day that month as emergency crews worked feverishly to try to contain the damage to the nuclear plant and beyond. The Japanese Prime Minister says it's a catastrophe unseen since the end of World War II. An explosion and fire inside a damaged nuclear facility. The news out of Japan continues to be mostly bad.
It's one of the worst case scenarios that's been bandied about.
Emergency workers are feverishly trying to cool down overheating fuel rods. Authorities raised the crisis from a level 4 to a level 5. Nearly 200,000 residents were evacuated from the area around the Fukushima Daiichi plant as radioactive material escaped into the air. 6 years later, areas that used to be home to 24,000 people remain off limits due to high radiation levels. Other areas in the so-called no-go zone have seen their evacuation orders lifted, but those who can come back have been slow to return.
The infrastructure is slow to come back. So, for example, the gas stations are not open, the food stores aren't there. A lot of their friends might have moved away permanently and found other locations. Cleanup at the site of the Fukushima Daiichi plant is also ongoing. An advisor to the president of the Tokyo Electric Power Company, known as TEPCO, says it will take 30 to 40 years to complete.
It's a Herculean job. It's going to take them decades to basically dig the fuel out. They have to develop advanced robots because the radiation inside the buildings is so high that humans can't go in there. So it's going to take time. One
of the biggest projects, one not visible, is an underground wall of frozen soil about 100 feet deep and a mile long around the site, acting as a dam to block running groundwater from entering the buildings and picking up radiation.
It's certainly helping, but it's not a silver bullet to solve all the problems. It is reducing the flow into the building, and there's been about a 70% reduction in flow. But it's not completely sealed yet. They're in the last section, which was about 20 feet long, that's being frozen now.
Above ground, more than 1,000 tanks are filled with contaminated water from the reactors. The International Atomic Energy Agency has encouraged Japanese officials to consider a controlled release of that water into the Pacific Ocean. Discharges of treated water are a routine part of many other nuclear plant operations, but so far it has not been done at Fukushima.
In order to do that, they really have to regain the trust of the people, and the people have to understand what the issue is. Tritium is a low beta emitter. If you have a watch that glows in the dark, it's probably now made of tritium.
This past July, a TEPCO chairman told a Japanese publication the company plans to start the controlled release after a government panel gives it final approval. Last year, the Japanese government estimated the financial damage from the triple disaster will reach $188 billion. And someday, the nuclear plant will exist only in pictures.
The plants will not be restarted. They will just remove all the buildings, reshape the contour of the land, and make it look like a park area.
So, Laura, Richard, there you go. It's important to note that not a single person has lost his or her life due to the actual nuclear meltdown at Fukushima as of tonight. If you have a story you'd like to see an update on, let me know on Twitter at Brett Baer. Use the hashtag #WhateverHappenedTo, or on Facebook at facebook.com/BrettBaerSR. We'll continue that series next week.